Engineer Michael French loved hunting and the outdoors. Captain Mike Banky, a third-generation firefighter, and firefighter Melvin Champagne, an Army veteran and volunteer.
Brandon Thompson was a firefighter, just a kid, 27 years old. All he wanted to be was on the hose. Captain Louis Smokey, he bled gold and green, Somerville through and through. Basketball coach, football coach. And then engineer Mark Kelsey, he was the man, a Navy man. Loved his motorcycles as well. 30 years in the fire service. Captain Billy Hutchison loved to play golf, but if you needed a haircut, you call Billy.
Firefighter James Earl Drayton, the one with the most experience, 32 years, also known as Cool Earl. Engineer Brad Beatty, a Marine Corps veteran, husband and father, remembering the Charleston 9 10 years later.
It was the greatest loss of firefighter life in this country since 9/11. And tonight, we remember the Charleston 9. We do not forget. Hi, everybody. I'm Dean Stevens.
And I'm Ashley Blackstone. Welcome to you tonight to Savannah Highway, the site of the old Sofa Superstore. It is now a memorial to those 9 firefighters who died on June 18th, 2007.
Alex Heaton takes a look back at that night.
It started as a sunny summer day in Charleston.
Of course, it was the day after Father's Day.
But soon the clear skies were blackened by dark smoke billowing from the Sofa Superstore on Savannah Highway.
I want you to come on across your truck in the Rumble Street Savannah Highway and come in the front door.
It was just after 7 p.m. on Monday, June 18th, when the first calls came in.
The Superstore store over here on 17 is in full blaze.
Before long, the nightmare at this Charleston furniture store would become a tragedy for the community. Within no time, several fire engines and ladders arrived. Their first task.
You inside?
Inside, give me help, please.
You inside? Whereabouts?
At the back.
Oh, at the back. At the back. He's in the back. He's trapped in the back.
He's rescued safely, but at least 16 firefighters are still inside as conditions in the showroom get worse by the second. It's 7:31 and the men are quickly running out of oxygen in their air bottles. And less than a minute later, a harrowing call over their radios. As the flames and smoke swallow the showroom, their worst fears set in. Their radios go silent.
A great and heroic tragedy has befallen our community.
It's just after 10 o'clock when the first of the 9 firefighters killed are carried out. All are recovered by the early morning hours of Tuesday, June 19th. Brad Beatty, Mike Banky, Melvin Champagne, Earl Drayton, Michael French, Billy Hutchinson, Mark Kelsey, Louis Smokey, Brandon Thompson. The Charleston 9.
It's the greatest fire tragedy, I think, certainly in modern times.
One forever burned into the hearts and minds of Charleston and its first responders.
And we will never forget, just like 9/11, we will never forget these 9 firefighters.
Now, 10 years later, a marker in the place where those brave men took their final breaths.
They are heroic, historic figures in our city, and they will never be forgotten.
Just a few months later, an incident assessment and fire review team issued an evaluation of the Charleston Fire Department. Mayor Joe Riley hired them for that review.
And it didn't identify any of the particular risk factors about the building.
The review contains several recommendations on ways the department could improve. Among them, exploring an automatic mutual aid response with surrounding fire departments and encouraging efforts to require the installation of automatic sprinkler systems in existing occupancies and all new residential and commercial construction. Despite their horrific heartache, changes immediately began. The goal, preventing another tragedy from happening.
The job is emotional as it is.
Surrounded by each other,
And everyone's experiences are different.
these men stand as one.
We're a tight-knit group.
Together is where they feel most safe.
It's kind of like a family.
An unbreakable bond few can relate to.
It makes you appreciate everything a lot more.
All tied to a tragedy they won't ever forget.
As we knew to honor these guys, we changes were coming.
Yeah.
And the way to honor them was to stay with, to go with the changes, work with the changes.
Over the last decade, the department's increased staff by nearly 100 people, added a multi-year training plan, and implemented a firefighter support team. But one of the biggest improvements is an automatic aid agreement. Battalion Chief Larry Hood says North Charleston, St. John's, James Island, and St. Andrews now work together. Whoever is closest to the fire now responds.
The public's a lot safer than what they used to be, just because of the automatic aid. Even to this day, we're still changing. Every week, we might get a new SOP, but we're still moving forward to this day.
Our station motto is best in the West.
Captain Ryan Delk is part of a team that investigates fires. Before 2007, the branch as it's known today didn't exist. Duties include creating a fire plan for all businesses in Charleston. It's updated each year.
We find where the alarm panels are, breaker boxes, whether there's gas to the building or not, where those shutoffs are, main power disconnects, all that kind of stuff. Anything that could help us if we go there for a fire.
And every day while Delk works, a reminder is pinned to his shirt.
Kind of, it just carries the guys with us.
Always there, always honoring those 9 souls.
It means a lot to me to be able to wear it, knowing that I knew those guys and worked with those guys, and just a memory of it.
So as they reflect on this anniversary, the department stands strong, healthy, and ready to serve, knowing the changes, the improvements will continue to save lives.
It's an honor, really, just to be able to see everything how it's unfolded.
This tragedy left families shattered, left parents without their children, spouses without their husbands, and kids without their dads. Tonight, we hear from Holly Benke-Gilday. Her father was Cappy. It was simply her safe place.
Laying on a shoulder like you saw in the picture, just because.
It's where she fit.
I can't believe it's been 10 years, maybe because every day is a new day.
But that day will always replay.
We decided to walk up there and I saw all the fire trucks.
Holly was pregnant. She lived just 2 blocks away from the Sofa Superstore.
Dad has got to be here because Station 16 was just right down the road. So when we walked back to the house, I called Dad. No answer. I don't feel like something's right because he would have let somebody know by now that he was okay.
A knock on her door. It was midnight. The news was delivered.
I still want to stop by the station. I still remember his phone number. I still want to call. I still want to stop by the house. I still want to do the same stuff. And even just a second after I think of that, I'd be like, I can't.
Her house now filled with reminders, memories, knickknacks, and paintings. Grateful for those who still remember.
I think when you see everybody that comes out for the memorial, it is just seeing them. They don't even have to say anything to you, but just seeing the support feels really, really good. Like you still remember. They're not forgotten. And that's the most part that I think is important, because we don't want them to be forgotten.
A memorial will help. It has been 10 years in the making.
We want that site to be grand. I mean, 9 guys died there. It needs to be memorialized properly. And I can't wait to see it all done. I think it's gonna be great.
The actual anniversary is this Sunday, June 18th. And the city of Charleston is holding a special ceremony to remember those 9 firefighters. It is here on Savannah Highway at the site of the old Sofa Superstore. Here's a closer look at what the fire department has in the works. A 24-hour watch at the flagpole begins at midnight and continues for 24 hours on June 18th. It's an annual tradition for the fire department. The memorial starts at 7 o'clock Sunday evening. We're told the service includes remarks by Charleston Mayor John Tecklenburg and Reverend Jimmy Gallant. It will also include the ringing of the memorial bell. The memorial service is open to the public.
Every single one of those miles is worth it for every one of those guys.
Running a mile for each firefighter every day until June the 18th. We'll introduce you to the North Charleston firefighter honoring the memories of his fallen brothers.
Strange that it's 10 years, but sometimes it feels like yesterday.
And a mother reflects on her son's life cut too short. The touching stories she's sharing with us about Captain Lewis Mulkey.
June 18, 2007, we lost 9 firefighters here in the Charleston area and Charleston Fire Department. It's a tough day for us then until this day. Every single one of those miles is worth it for every one of those guys.
He never met the firefighters who lost their lives in the Sofa Superstore fire, but this North Charleston firefighter is on a mission to honor his fallen brothers. Tian Griffith has run 9 miles every day since June the 1st. He'll keep going until June the 18th. When Griffith first joined the fire service, he was a volunteer at the Pine Ridge Fire Department, the same department where Brandon Thompson and Michael French volunteered.
When I came into the fire service, every day I would walk in and I would see those 2 faces, and it's something that really resonated with me because I would see their families, I would see the people that they interacted with every day. So I mean, you know, and my fire chief, they grew up with those gentlemen. So I mean, you know, to grow up with those men, you know, and to every day in my professional career, to see that from the beginning of my career, that was something that impacted me.
Griffith says their sacrifice has not been forgotten. He says the changes made in the department after the fire have been a huge benefit to every other man and woman who serves. The tragedy left behind dozens of family members and friends of the fallen firefighters. One of them, a dedicated mother who often talks about the need for a designated memorial.
But tonight, Ann Mulkey talks about her son Lewis, the impact he made on others. Here's ABC News 4's Bill Burr.
Near the daylilies at a home in Somerville is a small patriotic memorial. 9 American flags symbolize the men who died on duty.
It's strange that it's 10 years, but sometimes it feels like yesterday.
Ann Mulkey's son, Lewis, was one of the 9.
He touched so many people in his short life.
At 34 years old, Lewis Mulkey ended his watch as a Charleston fireman. For his mother, memories of Lewis never fade.
He loved to have a good time. He loved people, and he just loved life, and he lived it to the fullest.
Ann says her son's interest in public service began while he was a student at Somerville High School.
He never expressed that he wanted to be a firefighter, but he went to his guidance counselor at school and said, I want to be, but I don't want to tell my mom. She wants me to go to college.
Instead, Lewis pursued his passion of firefighting, and he volunteered as a coach and mentor for students at his alma mater.
There were a lot of the young girls there that he was a mentor to, you know, and he loved them.
Artwork, pictures, and passages adorn the walls inside Ann Mulkey's home. They depict her son's life and legacy for a local hero who won't be forgotten.
He was awesome, and we miss him every day.
Ann Mulkey has been an incredibly strong voice and advocate for a permanent memorial to be built right here at the Sofa Superstore site. The city says they are working on a plan finally. They hope to unveil those plans Sunday on the 10th anniversary. The families of the victims have to agree to those plans first. City officials promised to use about $65,000 already set aside to make improvements. It's great news for Fire and Iron Station 28. They were the ones behind the push to replace the existing gravel walkway at the memorial site with memorial bricks. Members of Station 28 have been selling those bricks since March of 2016. They planned to lay them in time for the 10th anniversary. But Mayor Tecklenburg revealed those bricks will be part of the master design for the permanent memorial, so they decided to wait. Fire and Iron Station 28 President Matthew Schneider says knowing that the bricks will be part of that plan exceeds their expectations. So far, more than 320 bricks have been sold, raising more than $40,000 for that project.
To help raise even more money for the Charleston 9 Memorial, Fire and Iron Station 28 is hosting the 3rd annual Charleston 9 Memorial Poker Run tomorrow at 10 o'clock. It starts at LowCountry Harley-Davidson and ends at Sports Book of Charleston. We're told there will be music, drinks, silent auctions, and raffles.
The anniversary perhaps brings it into a clearer focus, but there always and always will be a part of me.
He was Charleston's mayor the night of the Sofa Superstore fire. Tonight, Joe Riley reflects on the night he says will never leave him.
It was one of those surreal storylines wherein you're like, wait, this, are you serious? Sort of phenomenon. And then it began to sink in. And as you came to the Coliseum, and there was this amazing array of law enforcement and firefighters and first responders from literally around the country, around the world.
It's just a time in our community that was excruciating, painful, just disbelief. And at the same time, there was a rallying cry. I think we became more aware of the importance of our first responders in a way that we haven't seen at that point since the disaster of 2001, 9/11.
Joe Riley was the mayor of Charleston that night 10 years ago.
And he was there that night when the firefighters got the news their brothers didn't make it out. Our Alex Heaton caught up with him 10 years later.
I remember so many things about that night.
It's hard to forget. The call no mayor ever wants to answer.
Yeah, this is Mayor Riley speaking. What's the latest on the fire?
I remember getting a call from Chief Thomas.
A decade later, Joe Riley can recall every moment from June 18th, 2007.
I remember the first report that there was one firefighter that was missing.
Every detail.
I remember sending firefighters and police officers and cars to personally notify all the families.
A night that seemed to last a lifetime.
The night seems like, in my memory, about a week long.
A night he carries with him still.
I think of that and those 9 brave, courageous, determined firefighters every day. They're in my prayers every night.
He faced tough criticism in the weeks following the Sofa Superstore fire. Some questioned his allegiance to then Fire Chief Rusty Thomas. Some wanted answers, desperately trying to understand how a tragedy like this could happen here.
We had a very courageous, determined, gutsy fire department. But that night, those firefighters were doing what they were trained to do, and it was a set of circumstances that created a multiplication of factors that became overwhelming.
Riley stands by his decisions after the fire, including an independent review of the department and the changes that followed.
What was done by the fire department, and again with our great city council support, have put Charleston Fire Department at the forefront of fire departments in our country.
A department and a man forever changed by one night.
The parents, the spouses, their children, grandchildren, siblings, all, we're part of a family forged by this tragic event. So they know that they're always and will forever be in my hearts.
Not long after the tragedy, a group of firefighters came together, created the LOWCOUNTRY Firefighter Support Team. They gave aid to families and first responders and helped them try to move forward.
The group now supports 7 counties and thousands of first responders in the Lowcountry. Those first responders can turn to the support team for help with everything from clinical support, counseling, and crisis intervention.
Many have taken advantage of that. We just recently began to provide services to EMS as well, and we've been involved with training with EMS and fire departments to prepare them to take better care of themselves. We have about 45 members of our team here in the Lowcountry, and I know without question, without breaking any confidentiality, that lives have been saved, careers have been saved, marriages have been saved. No question about it. From people who reached out to get help when they needed it and took that help and turned it into a positive thing for their lives.
On our website right now is a page dedicated to the Sofa Superstore fire and the Charleston 9. You can find this 10-year special along with details on how to contact the Lowcountry Firefighter Support Team and updates on the permanent memorial.
There's also information on how to donate to the Memorial Fund and the stories we've covered since the tragedy. Just click on Sofa Superstore Fire under the News tab. That's at abcnews4.com. We wanted to thank you for joining us for this special presentation of the Sofa Superstore fire 10 years later.
We leave you now with the Charleston 9. Good night.